I guess my first question is, all of you guys have worked for the man or in agencies, and now you guys have, or agency or whatever, now you have decided to do your own startup. What was we can just go down the line. What was the motivation and what was the hardest thing to doing that? Let's start with Dan. Maybe.
Sure. I worked in advertising for 10 years. It was an amazing chapter of my life, and I have no regrets. I just, on some deep level, always felt a little bit like that guy in Office Space, that I knew I was just not destined to be an advertising guy my whole life. I just had dreams of doing other things. In terms of making the decision to become an entrepreneur, I felt that after years of building other people's brands, I wanted to, take that passion and pour it into building my own company. So,
yeah, I mean, very similar story. I worked for media companies for a long time, really just helping them build things, probably for about a dozen years. And I think anyone who gets kind of in that culture, no matter really where it is, eventually you want to get out of it. And I talked a little bit about how we hire a lot of freelance consultants, people who have sort of left the industry. And I mean, I honestly feel like it's some of the best people out there are people who got frustrated with agencies and media companies and left them and went off and sort of are starting their own little shops right now. And so that's really what we're about, actually, is trying to find a way to aggregate that talent and put them all together and have them help each other.
Cool.
Did you ask what was the hard bit, or just what was the inspiration?
Inspiration and then the hard
bit.
All
right. The inspiration, I think, was absolutely based on, I think with a lot of agencies, I think we all know it, that there's sort of this hierarchy that everyone's sort of speaking to, that what I hated about it was sort of getting hands off. So it seemed like the higher you got in the company, that the more hands off you became. And I think one of the biggest inspirations was trying to we spent a year developing, kind of figuring out what breakfast was going to be, and trying to figure out how, I don't want to let go too much. Obviously, we want to run the company appropriately, but just figure out how everyone can stay hands-on, everyone can stay involved. As far as the hardest thing that we've dealt with, I think was first and foremost is dealing with all the financial stuff that creative people don't want to deal with, but we found an amazing third partner who has made that magical.
Yeah, I'll throw in, we talked a little bit about this beforehand, that the hardest part for us, for sure, is that we get to work on lots of cool stuff. Some of it's like launching a restaurant, and here's a bunch of cool mobile apps. But the hardest part is that none of it is duplicable, right? You work on a cool thing, and then you go on to the next thing. And that's really fun, that's awesome, but it doesn't scale. You can't reuse the thing that you used before. And so I think companies that figure out how to do that, stay small, stay interesting at the same time, are the best, most interesting ones.
Cool. We only have 5 minutes, so if you guys have any questions, just jump up to the mic and ask a question. Otherwise, I can just continue on asking questions. Any questions? Okay. Do you see? No,
I don't know.
She's messing with her hair, I think.
Shifting in the
Can we ask each other questions?
Yeah, we can ask each other questions.
I want to know how you make those things. How do you what's the manufacturing? Yeah, just all the objects.
It evolves every time, which is why we make a lot of them, in the sense that early on it was incredibly hands-on, and starting a lot with Arduino, which you were speaking to before. Now we're sort of, as the company's getting better and bigger and we're learning more, we're sort of evolving into more of a, we're doing more CAD and everything of that sort. But absolutely, I think Arduino is, I can't champion it enough in the sense of just prototyping something that quick. A lot of times there's no quicker way to do it, but then we're sort of always using that as kind of the baseline, and then sort of building up from there and kind of starting to do it the right and real way. I don't know if that answered the question.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I have a question for Dan. I know you have funding in URDB. How did you get funding for an idea like that?
Well, I was really the most green entrepreneur there could be. I mean, 2-3 years ago, I didn't know the difference between what a venture capitalist was and what an angel investor was. Again, I mean, as you saw in my presentation, this was just a hobby that just kept growing and growing, and I said, all right, I want to grow this into a business. So my co-founder, Corey Henderson, is more versed in the realm of tech startups. He had a previous startup, so he knew a little bit about this. But really, we We were fortunate just to find, we looked for mentors in every area, from tech mentors to business mentors to creative mentors and so forth, and met with a variety of people ranging from venture capitalists to angel investors. Had a lot of people say, fun idea, but I don't see a business. And then we're blessed to find two angels who are angels in every sense of the word, that not only are putting money behind us, but also just genuinely believe in what we're doing and like what we're doing and wanted to see it as a brand beyond just so that they can make money from it.
Cool.
I want to know what burger did you design?
I had to make the Rex burger, of course, and I don't eat meat, so it was a veggie burger, and it has hummus in the middle.
How many
it's
sold?
How are you doing on the scale? Are you in the top?
Well, it's pretty dynamic. When we first launched, I was #1, but as like all of us sort of make things, we hope other people take it and run with it. It's like I'm very pleased, much like the world record being broken. I'm very pleased that I'm not on the leaderboard and other people have created much more interesting things. I think what's probably the interesting thing about it is that people come in and they'll make things based upon news events. So of course, there's 5 Bin Laden burgers, right? And it's interesting to see people try to be creative with food.
I don't want to know what that looks like at all.
Exactly. So, but it is weird that this is something you have to eat, but people want to really try to be creative with what they're doing.
Cool. So our time's up. If you guys don't have any questions or are scared to ask us because we're on stage, then you can meet us afterwards. And I guess we'll be around a little bit tomorrow as well. And then that's it. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.